This week was one of the craziest weeks we've ever seen in the stock market. So what I want to share with you today is everything that you need to know about what's currently going on. There's new news flooding in every single day. We just hit the biggest 3 back-to-back increases in the Dow since 1931, which is absolutely insane, but things aren't acting as we're expecting to. Everybody was expecting the market to drop on Thursday morning after the jobless claims came out, showing the fact that 3.3 million people have currently applied for jobless claims. However, there's speculation that that could 10x. So what I want to get into today are how the stimulus relief bill and the jobless claims statement, as well as other really important information you need to know if you plan on getting into the stock market. Is there going to be an April 2020 stock market crash? I want to explain that to you and see what my speculation is based on some of the facts that I've been looking into. So let's get straight into it and see what we should be doing in terms of the stock market right now, what we can anticipate going forward, and what we can expect in terms of potentially great opportunities that I'm going to share with you that I'm currently looking into, specific stocks that I think could be incredible to look into for the time being. All right, guys, so if you've been following the stock market, you can see that nothing is acting predictable. As I shared with you in my previous video about the 7 stocks that you should be keeping an eye out for, which is some of the ones that I've invested in personally this week. The fact that the top 5 biggest Dow swings in history happened over the last couple weeks, and 8 of the top 10 have happened in the month of March alone. So it's absolutely insane the fact that everybody got up today expecting for the jobless claims statement to come out, showing the millions of people with jobs lost, and the fact that that could 10x and go to 30 million people with a population of 100 million people. That's a third of the workforce in the United States. Yet the stock market still was bullish today and continued to rise. Now I want to explain why I think that's not going to be the case going forward. I think it's actually going to drop and present a very lucrative opportunity for many of us that are looking to invest into the stock market in March and April of 2020. But let's talk about some of the facts, especially looking at today how the United States just passed China in terms of confirmed cases. Now that went up by 4-fold over the last week, but again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just people that have been confirmed. That's not people that have not been tested. That's not people that, again, have simply just not raised their hand and gone for a test. So let's talk about the stimulus relief bill. What's going to happen? $6 trillion printed out of thin air, forked into the economy. What do you think is going to happen when that takes place? If you understand the economy, it's pretty safe to say that when you give people that kind of money and start to invest that out of nowhere into the economy, as well as some of the impacts in terms of giving people thousands of dollars per month, which I do think is a good thing, and I do think there's a lot of people that need support, but it's also not controlled. So there is some sort of opportunity for there to be hyperinflation, which is why I'm going to talk about some precious metal stocks at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Also, please just give me a little thumbs up because it's super late. I've been up super early and I'm just trying to provide you guys with the most relevant information. So anyways, let's get back to it. I do still think we're at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of people thinking that there's just going to be this V shape going up and that, things are going to come back together. We already peaked last Friday or this Monday, but I don't think that's the case. Take a second to think about this. If there's 3.3 million people in jobless claims confirmed, and they're projecting that that could 10x, and a third of the United States workforce could be unemployed, what do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of people, again, that are cutting costs, laying off entire workforces, and there's a lot of this that just simply hasn't been accounted for. Now, also, all of the stock market activity to date has been primarily based on speculation, emotion, things that Trump is saying. There hasn't been a lot of economic statements coming out about these economies. None of the quarterly reports have come out stating what's happening to these companies behind the scenes. We're only seeing things at face value right now. So what my speculation is that once some of this data and this insight and the financials come to light and the reality of the size and magnitude of the jobless claims and unemployment that's coming in the near future, I deeply believe that the stock market is going to go back down and we are going to see another trough or another dip in the Dow. Now, it previously hit 18,000. There's a lot of traders that I know personally that are very active in this space and are thinking that it could go down to 17,000. I don't know. I'm not here to speculate on short term where the Dow is going to go because, again, we can't control that and everything's been based on speculation anyway. But I think it's safe to say that the worst is yet to come in terms of if you take a look at the facts of what's happening right now. Now, I want to share with you a quote that I think is really important to understand right now, especially especially in this time, by Warren Buffett himself, one of the greatest investors and businessmen of all time. And it says, the stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. Now, what's happening right now is, again, a lot of people are trading on speculation. A lot of people are trading based on emotion and excitement, thinking that they've reached the bottom and you have to get in now and this is the best opportunity. But you need to be patient. Yes, Monday was a great opportunity, which is why I put out a video that day. Yes, Friday was a great opportunity as well. There's been a lot of great opportunities, but you need to be patient. There's a lot of people shorting stocks right now because they think that when the jobless claims statement was coming out on Thursday morning that the market was going to plummet, but it actually increased. So you need to be patient and look at the cold hard facts of what has been stated, what has come out, and what is yet to come out. Because I think what is yet to come out is going to actually tell the true picture. Now, don't be making short plays. I see a lot of people that are trying to make short plays, trying to day trade with certain stocks like cruise line stocks, airline stocks, which I've talked about in other videos. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. I'll link it in the card above because I have got into those, but those are long plays. If you're diving into the market right now and you don't know proficiently what you're doing and you don't day trade for a living, I deeply believe that you need to be playing the long game right now. You shouldn't be looking to make short bets, make your money back in a couple months. This is a long-term play. Yes, if you get a stock like Norwegian and you bought it at $18, now it's up to $44. That's cool, but it could go back up to $120. So there's opportunities here, great opportunities for people to invest their money, but I strongly urge you to be patient during this time. Now let's talk about a couple of interesting stocks that I personally am taking a look at. Now these are very volatile. These do have high risk, but they do have a high potential for reward. And I want to explain my thought process behind here. And for those that are active investors, again, drop comments in the comment section. I do want to know your opinion. I do value your opinion. And I want to know what stocks you guys are investing in. There's been a lot of people commenting on these videos, sharing stocks that they are getting into, and they're actually great stocks. They're actually great buys. So I love when you guys engage with this content. But let me explain something here. I'll toss it up on the screen. But let's look at New Gold, for example. You can see that right now, as of today, New Gold traded for 83 cents Canadian, and it typically hovers around $2, which again isn't something to really bat an eye at. But let me explain what happens with precious metal stocks historically speaking, and let me share with you my perspective and my prediction of why I'm going to be getting into some of these at some point over the next couple days or next week. Looking at this, if you look at the high, it went up to almost $14. So you would be making well over 1,000% on your money. But it's not necessarily the gain that I think is so incredible. I think it's the timing. If you look at a lot of precious metal stocks, whether it be gold, diamond, silver, anything like that, a lot of the time you see them kind of trading quite low throughout the years. But if you look back historically speaking on when they peak, it often happens the same year, the year after, or the second year after a recession or a stock market crash. So if you take a look at the situation we're in right now and you say, okay, this kind of looks like a stock market crash, now you might be able to speculate that over the next year or 2 years, if the stimulus relief bill does happen to cause inflation and we are going through a market crash, typically what that means, again, based on history, is the fact that precious metals are going to become more valuable. So if you are willing to play with a bit of risk and you do have some cash that you don't care about winning too much or losing too much on if it doesn't pan out, these can be incredible opportunities because, again, this is how a lot of people make a lot of money in short periods of time if you're willing to be patient and look at the data. Don't look at what's happening necessarily right now in terms of the short couple day window or the next months, but looking back at the history of these and when they peak. You can see, again, I'll throw it up again, after the dot-com boom, it peaked again. So every time there's some sort of crash, it ends up peaking from the precious metal perspective. So these are stocks that I'm keeping an eye on, some stocks you might want to watch. And I think it could be some bets that if you want to dabble with some risk, could provide some pretty high returns if you're not too fussed about what happens with that few $1,000s that you decide to invest. So there you have it. There's been a lot coming out. Next week's going to be an absolute insane week. Nobody can predict what's happening. But again, I do think that at some point in April, you are going to see another dip. You are going to see another incredible opportunity to get into the market and buy. So just be patient. Don't act off in the moment raw emotion, because again, that's when you get antsy. That's when you make silly mistakes. And there's been a lot of people losing a ton of money this week because they're trying to trade off speculation and anticipation and not so much looking at the data, the facts, what has come out, what has yet to come out, especially with some of the announcements that are starting to trickle out. So again, I want to know what you're trading in. I want to know specific things that you're keeping an eye on, because we're all here to help each other out to get through this time and also try and make a few bucks. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned to the next video, because I'm going to be staying up to date with all of this, and I want to make sure that I give you as much information as I possibly can. So until next time, keep trading and let's see what we can make happen.